Well, with the sunlight, kind of diminishing here, it is going down generally right now. Talk a little bit about the image at 19 power. Actually, I was on 17 power. Forgive me. 17 power. On 17 power, I can still see 8 mils of holdover. And my data for this is 7.1 at about 1026 with a 300 PRC, 225 grain bullets. Those are pushing they're a little under 28, I think. Might be like 2790. But anyways, they're not quite as fast as the hand loads typically are. So I can get out there with about 7.1. The reticle is pretty good. It has separations at the nexus of the stadia where your horizontal and vertical line come together. There's a little gap there, so you can put that. It's almost like the reverse of putting a dot on something. There's a gap in there. And I kind of like that, actually. It's been useful to put on really precise targets today. It's been very warm, so mirage has been an element. I'm a little closer to the barrel than I normally like to be. Actually, I'm quite a bit closer. I can't fit my finger in here. It's not touching. It might look like it, but it's not touching in here. It's just very, very close. And being that it's, like almost 90 out or something, there's a lot of mirage. So I shoot 5 rounds, maybe 10 rounds. I let it cool for quite a bit because I don't want to cook this barrel out more than it already is. But I'm enjoying the optic. It's rugged. It hasn't moved. These Discovery rings have not moved or loosened. They haven't come apart. I've got a fat wrench that I've been clicking to see if they move at all. Nothing's come loose yet other than a couple weights I have on my rifle. Those, I actually had one pop off when I was shooting a group a little bit ago. Those have loosened up. There's just a lot of recoil with Magnums in general. And so with all that vibration and recoil and power and the brake on the end, it's just kind of nasty. And 300 PRC has a lot of recoil compared to other rifles. If this was a 308 and it was weighted down like this, it would be a puppy dog. It would be nothing. No recoil, hardly any. But with 300 PRC, there's quite a substantial increase of recoil over something like a typical 308. Now, I kind of doubt that through my phone, it's going to give an excellent image just because of the phone's degradation of that image. But you can see here, there's my target. I'll focus back in on the reticle for a second. I am dialed out to 7.6, 7.7 for 1,000, I think that's 1,023 yards right to my steel. And I have some paper there and a further target off behind. But I'll be shooting at that white silhouette there. It's glowing in the sun. You can see from this right here that the reticle is sensitive enough and it's thin enough that it gives me plenty of room to move around and make different holds here. Go for headshots if I wanted to tonight. It's not very windy. And I'm going to use the 212s tonight instead of 225s just because I don't have a lot of the 225s left. And the 212s still go, they're pretty much okay. But I'll make hits on that silhouette tonight, at least a few. No trouble at all. So that's what a silhouette looks like at 1026 on 19 power. Let's back it down a little bit and just see what that's going to look like at 10 power. Lots of holdover. Pretty practical. And obviously my camera is going to clip some of the image. I can actually see all the way down to the 10th mil plus some of that chevron territory down there. But 10 mils is very practical. I'll be shooting this tonight on, let's go up to, I think I'm going to go up to 17 power. 17 power is what I had it at earlier, and that's about where my parallax was the clearest. That's all set right there. Okay, we'll go ahead and throw a few down. Those two are stacked. Hopefully you can see that exactly on top of each other, really. Not bad. Let's throw one more down there. See what that looks like. Hopefully you can hear it and see that target light indicator going, but that's definitely not difficult. I'll back it off to 10 power. Do one on 10 power here. certainly punishes that target, no trouble. A couple other things that I'll mention just as I'm waiting for the barrel to cool off here. I do appreciate that it's got a 56mm objective. I think the image towards sundown here at 15 power is really, really good. You know, when we talk about edge-to-edge clarity, typically the center of the glass is going to be a little better and the edges might distort a little bit. And, you know, your eye box might not be quite as good at 25 power, but really what I'm interested in on budget optics is the center. And I do care about the edges and if I can use extreme holdover, but this doesn't have a reticle that goes all the way down. I essentially can use about 13 mils, and when I'm at 15 power, I'm right in the mid-range, and the image is pretty good. The eye box isn't bad when I'm moving around here. It's not bad, and I care about that on Magnums because the heavy recoil, you know, it bounces you a little bit. You move your head around a little bit, especially new shooters, and because the eye box is not ultra sensitive, I'm not blacking out right away upon recoil, and I can actually catch my trace or see my impacts downrange relatively easy. And this is a good heavy stout optic. That way it kind of it maybe weighs down the rifle a little bit more. Again, I like that. But yeah, that 56mm objective, it looks good and it also gives you a decent image, better light collection, I think, the way this is calibrated. And I really just like that at 15 power I can see all 10 mils of holdover. That's enough to get all of you, that's enough to get all of you past 1,000 yards, even with bigger, heavier bullets, slower bullets. That's going to be plenty with a 300 PRC or Magnum like this. And this optic appears to be holding up just fine. I'm almost totally out of ammo. I think I have, let's see, I think I have about 15 rounds left for the day. And the destruction test, the recoil test, the everything test for the ED 5-25 PRS, it's going to be done. And I'm pretty sure this is going to hold up. I have no reason to doubt it. I have no fractures in the rings, no issues with the image. Everything still works just like it did when I got it out of the box. I'm not going to touch a parallax right now because I've just perfected it, but illumination and parallax have been ultra smooth still, even though it got dropped. Remember, right on the side. I'll insert that now. It got dropped right on those caps there. It did take some pretty hard hits when it was in the first video. Then we went through the Springer, and the Springer, that reverse recoil is even more abusive than this is in another direction. And it handled that vibration just fine. No issues with any of the turrets. Everything feels good, and it's tracking true. My data's still lining up, so I'm pretty sure we're going to have an ace on this one. But I'll go ahead and throw a few more down, and I'm kind of sick of shooting from the bench, so I think I'm going to get down to the pro and shoot some more. So just a little bit of commentary and a thank you, shout out to a couple people while I let the barrel cool down. Thank you to Long Shot Target Cameras. That's how I can see where I'm hitting down there on paper. And throughout the day, as I switch out paper and all that, I can actually shoot these many, many times because I can just mark the groups with different colors. It gives me lots of feedback. The advantage of the Long Shot Target Camera system is actually the software and the things it does. It can tell you corrections, it can tell you the size of your group, your target, and all that, and you can actually physically see it down there, which is really cool. So that's one thing I use. I just use a backup phone as a monitor or tablets. Tablets, if you have a good tablet, it works really nicely. It's a good system. Then I also want to say thank you to Warbird Pro. So these are the Ghost Wolf, and they have just minimally darkened the image a little bit so that the sun isn't quite so glaring, but it's also protective. And these are impact rated, and so these are, you know, pretty much my go-tos when it comes to precision rifle. I like this because it keeps my image nice and light. Speaking of, I think the sun is going to go down. I've only got 3 rounds left, and I want to send them on steel here. And so I'll go ahead and throw those down. Should be all hits. It's not very windy, but maybe one will get away from me. We'll see what happens. Well, there you have it, everybody. The Discovery EDPRS 5-25 survived all 3 tests. The abuse test, starting with the drop test on the Savage 308. Then after that, it survived the Springer reverse recoil test. And lastly, here on a Magnum, shooting these big 300 PRC bullets with quite a bit of vibration and sharp, snappy recoil. It held up to all of it. The reticle did not turn or break. The lenses stayed intact. The turrets and the tracking have remained true all the way through. All the levers, knobs, including magnification, diopter, parallax, and illumination, which took direct hits at times, they're all functioning well. And in fact, all I have are a little bit of scratches and dents underneath some of this tape. The objective bell did not dent significantly during those drop tests, and I just don't see any damage to the scope. It is still perfectly functional, and I'm really impressed. For the price point, I can get behind this, and I would say that if you're looking for an entry-level optic for a Springer, or even up to a Magnum doing long range, 1,000 yards plus like you saw in this video, I can actually get behind this as a great entry-level option, and I think it will hold you over for a good long time. I'm enjoying mine, and I think it might even go back on that Springer, which I enjoy so much and I shoot so much. A quick shout out to the sponsors who helped me get this video together. Warbird. Warbird Pro is awesome. They make eyewear, which I use for protection with my eyes. They also make hearing protection. This is the Bluetooth model. They're rechargeable. The BTs stand for Bluetooth, and they're RC, rechargeable. I really, really enjoy those. I enjoy these deep state glasses because they give me a wide area of protection, and they're very practical for shooting. Also, thank you to Vanguard Outdoors, who provided tripods and some glass for me to do some spotting with and recording video with. The tripod I'm using right now is the Vesta Go 264 CV12 or CV12. That is an excellent tripod, and I got a lot of stuff done because of that. And then lastly, of course, thank you to Discovery for sending these out to the channel for testing. I do have more testing to come. I have more models that I'm going to test, and in fact, next month, I think Discovery is going to be dropping one of their best optics yet that has been produced by the company as a whole. I'm very excited to get my hands on it, do some testing, and bring that one to you in good time, and we'll just see when that one hits the market. Other than that, if you liked the video, like, share, subscribe, do all the usual things, and maybe go check out the link below if you are now a believer that this is a durable optic.